So this is probably the biggest piece of news. We'll start here. So sources, m0NESY likely staying at G2 despite Falcons' interest. So this is essentially aligning with everything we've seen coming out so far, which is the G2 CEO came out and literally said that they weren't getting rid of m0NESY and they want to build around m0NESY, and m0NESY is the future of G2. Basically said, bye-bye, Nico, you're old anyway and washed. Like, all good. Enjoy your bag. We're not giving it to you. Okay, that's not really what he said, but like, I just really want to, yeah. Let me be here. So we got m0NESY staying in G2. I think that's a huge W, because I just think that what's really interesting now is, especially, dude, I just think G2 has the opportunity to really make some moves here. It's not that I think Nico is holding them back. It's that, like, if you're choosing to build around m0NESY, I feel like there's a conscious, like, choice being made here to kind of, like, dude, G2 could sell m0NESY to Falcons and basically have the rest, like, they could do whatever they want, right? Like, they if they're gonna keep such a valuable piece like this and choose to build around them, and they're not gonna have Nico like salary on their books anymore, I just think it leaves so much room for potential with the roster. That could be a total revamp with the coach IGL. It could be like bringing it. What do imagine? Now, this is my North American bias, but like, dude, what if Elige was to come into G2? Nico gone, but you get Elige, Malbs, and m0NESY. That's fucking terrifying, right? Something that's very likely. If you guys missed it, there was the announcement that in here, I'll actually add to it. I think it's in here as well. It's right here. We'll get into this too. I got you guys.
Obviously, the big question for Complexity specifically is Elige going to stay? John is understandably wants to play on a team that can win massive events because of, he's worked really hard for a lot of years to really get his skill to where he's at. And we had a meeting right here in my office, and, I want what's best for him. I get that, he's to the stage of his career where he's really peaking and his biological clock is ticking, you could say. You get to an age where, you have life changes, you grow older, you just might not be at your peak forever. So we're working through that, and we're certainly not a prison here. And if John can find an organization that right now is prepared to battle for top 3 consistently, we'll try our best to make that happen for him and take whatever buyout we get and probably reload with maybe some up and coming North American talent.
So like it's not for sure. I'm not saying Elige is for sure going to G2 or something. I'm just saying that's not like a completely unlikely scenario. I just fabricated out of my butt. Also, shout out Thor and Monte Cristo and Richard, because that is a well-timed interview, boys. I'm not going to lie. This was whoever, I think they all put this one together, but my God. I've listened a little bit to it. I haven't had a chance to go through the full VOD, but it was a really good one. It was really nice. Now, back to m0NESY. I just think I'm really excited for G2, actually. Funny enough, I think I'm more excited for G2 now. I'm probably going to end up eating my own words on this, but I just think they just have so many options, man. That it really is that simple. With Nico gone, they have Malbs, and yes, Malbs had a bummer of a major. So did m0NESY, for that matter. But at the end of the day, they're both super young. They have so much, like, dude, let's see. Let me look at the age on these two. What is m0NESY, like 18, 19? How old is he right now? Let's see. Malbs, m0NESY. m0NESY's 19. Malbs is 22. I don't know. I find this whole project going to be really exciting. So we'll see. We have to wait and see what they end up doing. They might end up keeping Stacks and Taz. I could legitimately see G2 getting crazy though, and like just keeping Malbs and m0NESY and then going around. I'm not saying they have to do that. There's just, with Nico no longer there, it's not that they're going to cheap out on players. It's just like, I just feel like you have a lot of options into who you can acquire. It's going to be interesting. And it's, and when you have a player like m0NESY, I really have dropped the ball by not mentioning this. So many people are going to want to play with m0NESY, which brings me into this other part where apparently Jimmy isn't going to go to Falcons, according to, I think it was, this is on HLTV confirmed.
Picked apart, So
Jimmy to Falcons isn't likely, huh?
It seems as if that was like tied directly to m0NESY, and if m0NESY was going, Jimmy would have gone as well. And
so like, that's That's the type of power having like a player like m0NESY on your roster has. Like he attracts players. Like who knows? Maybe Jimmy wants to come to G2. Maybe Spinks wants to come to G2. Maybe when you have a player like m0NESY that is as talented and as young as he is, that's already accomplished and is going to accomplish so much more, people are going to want to go play with him. Like it really is that simple. People are going to want to go and play with him. It's just gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be. I could see there's a world where I could see Elise, Jimmy, Spinks. These are just names at the top of my head. I could see going to G2. I don't know who else might end up going there. These are all potentials though, for sure. Do I think Donk will move despite winning the major? I don't know. I think we got to kind of wait and see. I'm already feel like I'm throwing out too many hypotheticals as is. I mean, they're very logical and relevant ones based on rumors that we have, but I don't want to start going too far off the deep end without any sort of rumor like that circulating. You know, like there needs to at least be a hint that he wants to move or something. I think Donk is very much going to be in Spirit for a long time, and it's more likely that Spirit collects more players around him rather than him going somewhere else. Keep in mind it is not an easy transition to go from like native speaking language to English to international rosters. That's not an easy swap. The fact that m0NESY started there immediately is such a huge valuable like asset to him, and it makes it so much easier, and the amount of players that he can play with is huge. So yeah, anyway, short version now, TL didn't watch. m0NESY stay in G2. Jimmy looked like not going to Falcons. Looks like G2's gonna have the entire world at their fingertips in terms of who wants to come and play for them, which is kind of, I love this, because really you have Falcons who has all this money and they still can't get players. Meanwhile, G2 has m0NESY, and I feel like they have all the power in this offseason. The amount of people that are going to want to play with m0NESY, that know there are options available at G2, that are going to be gunning for that spot, that organization, that team. I don't think the only spot that might be just as valuable is maybe like Vitality, with Spinks wanting to move, which was, if you didn't know, that was the rumor before Cologne is kind of been only building again, because they won Cologne, so that rumor died down, but I think that spun up again. I think it's all but certain that Spinks will no longer be in Vitality. So Vitality G2 seem like the spots everybody wants to get in, and because who the fuck doesn't want to play with m0NESY and ZywOo, you know? So it's gonna be, it's a wait and see, but it seems like Jimmy and Spinks right now are on the move in some capacity, and it's gonna be interesting. And it seems like Jimmy's not going to Falcons anymore, which I think him going, if m0NESY was going, makes all the sense in the world, and him backing out of it because m0NESY's not going is incredibly intelligent. I don't think Falcons is going to be able to pull people. If you're sitting there and let's just say you are a liege and you have the option, I'm not saying he has these options, but you have the option of G2 Vitality Falcons. Falcons is at the bottom of your list. They're at the bottom of your list. You do not care. Like, yes, money's great, but you are, Nico, interesting enough, is not enough to pull everybody there.